Let's try this again. Part 2. Throughout the course of my military career, I can assure you, I've had many a power tripper try to play and exercise and put their thumb over me. And as a result, I was reminded how prevalent it still is in the system, and that when people are in certain positions of power, or this idea that they have authority over others, where they are supposed to be defending your rights, they are exercising their will, their ego. And so what you're finding in the world today right now, as you look around, notice that the people have been under pressure for so long, and you can only be in the pressure cooker for so long before eventually it's, I've had enough. Fuck that. Fuck you, and fuck you. And the unfortunate thing is like I said in the other video, is when you go from one extreme to always being a people pleaser, always doing what you're told, sitting down and shutting up, to I've had enough, I'm done, I'm taking back my power, and I don't care about the fallout. Like, you're just coming from the irrational, emotional side, that all this stuff that's stirring up is projectile vomiting. So if you hadn't been doing the work and slowing down to recognize the rumblings that have been coming up, the dregs of all the old shit being stirred, as I said in class today, because that's essentially what happens, is that when we are so disconnected in all of our chakras from the baseline of the grounding root, like if you weren't safe and secure as a child, or even throughout the course of your life, that becomes a repetitive theme, and you're constantly struggling to feel rooted, to feel grounded, to feel safe, to feel secure, seeking external things to make you feel it inside, when in reality, nothing outside of you is going to fix what you have to do from the inside out. With all of this said, our systems are crumbling. Haven't you noticed? And the systems are so convoluted and so deep and so... See, when you have so many layers to it, makes it real hard to see what the truth is. So when you put one more layer on top of one more layer on top of one more layer, when in reality, the whole essence of the system was supposed to be simple and straightforward. But when you put in more legalese and confusing dialogue and conversations and word spells, when you cast, you know what? Casting, the other way of casting, not just casting as in, I'm putting a spell over you, casting a spell over you. There's the casting, hook, line, and sinker. Are you going to get caught up on that reel? Are you going to get dragged in on the line? Because that's what's been going on for time immemorial. I don't know when it started. I have no idea. I just know it's been going on long enough to where we're the generation, we're the ones who incarnated to say, no more. We're going to get it right this time. It's not going to be fun or comfortable, because you got to be uncomfortable to seek change, don't you? Hadn't you noticed? Nothing of change or progress comes inside your comfort zone. So you can try to remain comfortable in your, cushy little life and think that, oh, don't burst my bubble. But I'm here to tell you, I've had my bubble burst enough times. I've gotten uncomfortable, even today. I didn't like it, but it's inspired me to get on here and to do this video, because I know I'm not the only one going through it. And then this is the real me. This is the raw me saying, I'm fucking over it. Don't be telling me what to do and go and do what you want to do. Don't act like you're better than me when you haven't walked in my shoes. And even when I made the phone call to the jury office and they trained them to be insensitive, like what happened to the sensitivity training, people? What happened to the compassion? We're all in this together. I call up and I explain, listen, I have an issue. I have a mental health issue that got triggered because of all this stuff, and I got a lot of things going on in my life. I don't need to explain myself. I told her I was a military veteran. I said I'm dealing with a lot of PTSD at the moment. I gave that much information, but I did not warrant nor request the blame shame game that she proceeded, even though I have just explained to her and I've been vulnerable and courageous enough to share with her what I just did. Well, what made you wait so long? You've had plenty of time. I said, listen, one moment. You don't get to tell me to blame or to shame me. You don't know what I'm going through, that I've been going through to get to the point where I'm at right now. Like, they don't know how to train sensitivity because you've got that going down the pipeline. And I'm going to remind you, when it's toxic at leadership, it's toxic at the top. For her to say that to me just told me what her environment is like. Same thing I dealt with when I was in the military. Same types of environments. The people that talk shit to you, who talk down to you, who are insensitive towards you, that's a treatment they're learning through how they're being treated. Just like a child, we don't become bullies just because. If a child is bullied, they learn how to adapt, and from that treatment, that's how they react. They will use the way they've been treated. We've all been there. That if you've been bullied, chances are you have a high probability of becoming a bully. That if you've dealt with narcissism, you have a high probability of exercising narcissistic traits. We learn through our eyes, our nose, our five senses. What we taste, what we smell, what we see, what we hear, and what we touch. What we observe around us at the young, impressionable ages is what we take in as nourishment, just like food. And that, in turn, it teaches our system, it wires us, whether good or bad, positive or negative, in the direction of empowerment or the direction of disempowerment. And we're all kind of trying to navigate our old, unhealed, and unresolved wounds. We're trying to get rid of the trauma. We're trying to erase the drama and live as functioning adults. Most people, they're just getting by day to day, still in survival, still in the trauma response, and totally unconscious and unaware of what the driver is down here. Because it all goes back to the root. It always will go back to the womb, that's what I like to say. That if you're not healing your womb, you're not healing the deep down in the dredge, like in your pelvic floor. We hold all our emotions down here. And if you're not allowing yourself to churn it up, move it out, well, you've got to move your body. If you don't move it, you lose it. Then you're going to projectile vomit it. Because if you're out of touch with your body, you're completely out of touch with your mind. Your mind's running the show. The body is always telling on the mind. The mind is the one that's usually misaligned. That the body being out of alignment is the mind just showing you. Look, you have an old belief. You have a story that you've concocted, that you experienced something in the past, and you're so attached to it, addicted to that story, that the body's trying to tell you, it doesn't ring true in me. The misalignment with anything in your head will misalign in the body. That's where dis-ease and discomfort comes from. For all of us, myself included. How do you think I learned this? Through personal experience. I can only speak from my experience, and my experiences are vast, as I've lived many lives in this one, it seems, and many from others too. And we carry it all in our cellular memory. So unless you're shaking up your body and shifting out that energy, like really gotta focus that energy to harness it, then it's like schlep rock, it's like pig pen. You're just wowsy woo woo. You are a walking, ticking time bomb of accidents, if not waiting to happen, often happening. Are you clumsy? Are you klutzy? Do you trip? Do you have a lot of accidents? Do things attract to you that, why me? Pay attention, because it's all telling you where your mind is at. And I've been having this, even in my life, where I had to confront, what is my belief around this that I'm attracting it again? And I had to, and I will tell you, my life has been that I have been the sacrificial lamb. In a lot of cases, I've had to have experiences so that I would not want to do that to another. So when I've had it done unto me, it's the golden rule again. When I've experienced it done unto me, it reminded me to not do unto others. Now, I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I haven't. But it's made me acutely and keenly aware of the treatment that I've had toward me. I would never want to do that to another. I would never want to belittle someone or make them feel like shit or to make them walk away slithering and hunched over and less of who they truly are. I'm here to uplift. I'm here to empower. The last thing I want to do is exercise or control my will upon another. And I don't get off on that. I'm sorry. I'm just not like that. Not into the S&M thing. So pay attention to languaging. Pay attention to the dictators swinging those dicks around trying to exercise control over you. Because that's all they can do. Because it is the faking it that's not making it. And when it's not in natural, because see, power versus force. Those are the forces that try to give the appearance of having power. And so many are blinded and thinking, well, the powers that be and the elites and this and that. And you need to stop calling them that. You need to claim the power and stop giving it away. When you say those powers that be, those elites. No, honey, you're the elite. You're the power that be if you claim it and take responsibility. Because when we keep on calling people something other than what we truly are, like when you start projecting and acting like there's someone who has more power than you, then you're just giving them more power. And you have to be mindful of your language. You have to be mindful of your thoughts because it's all feeding it. The more we're in this fear, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, I mean, fighting against each other, we can't be doing that. That's feeding into this game. And that's what I experienced last night on the clubhouse. I was like, we can't be doing this. This is the duality. This is the trap. This is what sets us back. The fact of the matter is, they know, they feed off our fear. They feed off of us fighting. They want us fighting amongst us. Haven't you seen the memes with the kings and the queens up in the top? It's usually mostly the kings. And they just throw something out into the masses and they go, just let them fight it amongst themselves. They do their work, do our work for them. Like, truly, they know if all they have to do is trigger one of our wounds, which they're part of anyway, because the same people who create the crisis will come in with the solution, right? That's a clue right there. That's a clue, insight into who's really the corrupt one, who's really trying to oppress and suppress us. Because they need us. We don't need them. Haven't you figured that out yet? They need us to need them. And when we don't no longer need them and we recognize that we're the power and that we have one another, that's when they fall. Watching the house of cards fall, people. It's time. Because if you're fighting amongst yourselves with someone in your family, your friends, your circles, you're playing into their game. And if you can at least be humble enough to go, holy crap, I really don't have a beef with that person. What that beef is, all that anger that's stirring up, isn't with the other person. They may have triggered the memory in you, but the reality is this goes back generations. Some of us are carrying on generational curses and legacies from our families that they experienced, where maybe your family has a certain trend, a certain legacy that's being carried on, and you're like, no, I need this to stop with me. But you got to be in awareness of that, and you need to take back that power and be responsible, because that's what we're here to do. The only way we're going to get this right is if we stop fighting with each other and we start supporting one another. We don't disagree to separate, but we have compassion that we don't always have to agree. That just because you choose to do something with your life doesn't mean I have to do the same, and vice versa. That nobody wants to be dictated on. If anything, we want to be our own authorities. We want to exercise that we are the stars of our own shows and we're not extras in someone else's. Once again, personal power. It's a choice. And you get it every single time you make a choice. Whether it's how you behave or respond to a situation, how you show up in your life. You can choose to complain about something, but the key is looking for and trying to find the solution. The more you're focused on the problem, you're creating more of the problem. The more you look toward the solution or walk away from the whole situation, the more you're going to move forward. But that's that discomfort. We have to get uncomfortable to evolve. And that's what we're all doing right now. So all the anger, all the upset, whatever's stirring up and around you, whatever you're seeing in the world, is a collective collaboration. Because the only way we're going to find movement in this movement is when we all get uncomfortable and we say, enough is enough. I'm not having it. I'm not dealing with it, and I'm not putting up with it anymore. And I withdraw, because that's the thing. It's tacit agreement. Just by the fact that if you interact with it, you are agreeing to it. Complying with it, or even defying it, you're agreeing to it. You're agreeing that there's an argument, that there's something worth fighting in that situation. See, now this is where you got to get smarter and don't do things harder. Look at the situation and see how it's stealing you of your joy and how it's taking you away from what you could focus on. That's going to take the power away from that. Everything that's going on in the world, the only way we can really take back the power, drop it and move over here. Neutrality is the key. Don't get caught up in the trap of duality, because in neutrality, you choose the middle way, which means you're not giving it any more of your attention. No more. When you stop, it stops. When you say no, that's the only way to go. That's all I have for you. I got to get to the gym because I got to move my body, and I missed it the past couple days. And the truth of the matter is when things are really, really bugging the shit out of you, you got to get out. You got to move your body. Got to do one thing that's good for you, that uplifts you and really moves that energy. Today was a struggle for me, but I'm here to share with you that this is what came up for me. And I know I'm not the only one going through it. So honor your feelings. You got to feel it to heal it. If you're unwilling to go within and deal with the muck, it's going to come out projectile vomit, and it's going to create more chaos out of your environment. Yeah, it's the same form of healing. It's more struggle and strife. Approach life with grace and not grudges. Find your peace and claim your pieces. That's what it's about. Putting the pieces back together is where you find your peace, instead of just choosing what you want. You got to choose it all. You got to own it all, because you're not just this piece or that. You're whole. And the only way you're going to ever be whole is when you choose to be. So, lots of love. If you didn't see the first video, go back and watch that video, because they're both equally supportive. And hopefully the jury received my email, because I sent that out at 4 o'clock and, well, did the best I could. So I feel pretty solid in that one. So much love, many blessings, and go out and be prosperous. Love you.